Hey, everybody. Hello, all my XO family out there. This is Crystal Jordan, and I am excited because today is the very first version of our Pop Culture Power for 2024. And this is the very first episode. So I'm excited. We are doing a little bit different. I'm trying out some things, but I know that Pop Culture Power with from Christal XO has to be a part of the programming here because I am not just a YouTuber, I am a real writer. I am like a writer in real life. And I feel like it's important to make sure that I kind of distinguish what I'm doing from what a lot of other YouTubers are doing by showing you a collective of articles that I do every week on pop culture topics. What's up, Hip Hop Inquirer? I got you. I just need to get through Pop Culture Power. And then we will get to this because I know the great thing about what I do is, in addition to being a YouTuber and talking about reality shows, I'm a real journalist. And so we get a chance to actually talk about things that are going on in the world with my partner there, Hip Hop Inquirer, who's in the chat right now. But for all of you guys that are joining, I'm super excited that you're here. It is 2024. We made it. 2023 tried to take a lot of us out. But we are here and I'm so excited. I'm so happy that you guys are here with me. Today is going to be a great show. I didn't get a chance to do one of these before the end of the year, but I have some great articles that I want to talk about on some great topics. And so we're getting ready to get into that in just a minute because this year I'm going to be sharing with on a regular basis, on a weekly basis, which articles I have decided to make the top tier from Collider. So you guys know I write for a few magazines, but Collider right now is my favorite for this show because I get a chance to write about reality TV, right? And so there's so much going on in these reality TV streets. And I love the fact that I can give you a little extra context. We see the headlines, everybody sees the headlines, you see the Instagram tweets, but right here, we can talk a little bit we can go into a little bit more detail. Miss Pretty Amazing, thank you so much, girl. We're going to talk about that. That is the last one. We're going to save the best for last, but we're going to have to get into that in just a bit. But, we have some other reality shows that I want to talk about. Pop Culture Power is all about the reality shows that are trending, right? It's about reality shows that are trending. And this channel, we talk about relationships. That's kind of like the highlight for what we do. So most of these reality shows deal with relationships in some type of way. Now, if you have any questions about any of the articles that you see mentioned, you can always visit www.collider.com. And you can find my articles. You can also type in Crystal Jordan Muck Rack, and you can get a chance to see all the different articles that I have on Collider and Rolling Out and Lennox and Parker and a few other sites that I contribute to on occasion. But I just thought having this conversation with you guys weekly would be great because we get a chance to talk about all those crazy things that we see going on weekly on reality TV. Now, the first one we're going to get into tonight, because I think we have 7 that I want to talk about. I usually do about 1 to 2 articles per day. And so this one is, I want to start with this first one for today's topic, which is this one is Sister Wives. Now, I don't know if a lot of you watch Sister Wives. A lot of you on this channel, I'm not sure if you do or not. But this is how Sister Wives, Cody Brown's transition to monogamy impacts the show. Crazy. Cody Brown confesses his newfound commitment to monogamy, and Sister Wives fans are shocked. Okay, this is crazy to me because I remember when Sister Wives premiered. I mean, the show has been on for almost 20 years, right? 18 seasons. That's a long time. And there was this mystery about the show because there's so many people that say that they would love to have multiple wives, but very few people really know what that entails. So this idea of this white man named Cody Brown that had multiple wives and he was living this lifestyle and they were going to share it with TLC was very strange to me. And I thought that a lot of people that are pro polygamy would enjoy this because it's an opportunity for them to say, aha, look, it works. But It didn't work. End of the day, it did not work. So all of you that are out there like me that are advocates for monogamy, we won one. We won one, guys. Monogamy won, polygamy zero right now. Because for 18 seasons, Cody Brown has struggled to prove polygamy is a viable option for marriage. When TLC premiered Sister Wives in 2010, that is actually 24 years ago. 2010, TLC premiered Sister Wives, and the series was wildly popular due to the mysterious subject of polygamy. Although monogamous marriages are the status quo in the U.S., the ratings for the show proved many Americans were curious about how a man would navigate a marital relationship with three and then four wives plus children. Cody quickly transitioned from being perceived as one of the luckiest men in the world to being one of the most irresponsibly matched to handle all his multiple wives. So this is the article that is on the site that's doing pretty well right now, because there are a lot of people out there that are big fans of Sister Wives. But this show is interesting because I feel like the things that we see on reality TV are a reflection. You guys that watch my channel, you know I say that all the time. It's a reflection of what's going on in the real world. Cody, like most men, was unable to handle the responsibility, the emotional responsibility of multiple wives. I actually agree that he is probably going to end up single, just because in the article I talk about how most people that watch the show saw how the breakdown happened, right? One wife left, and then another one felt like, oh, wait a minute, she did it, I can go too. Main point is these women are not happy, right? There's jealousy, of course there's favoritism, ageism, right? Because I feel like a lot of preferential treatment is given to the youngest wife or the newest wife. That's just normal. I think that's normal human behavior. But to assume that a man could have that many wives and it runs smoothly, it doesn't usually run smoothly with a man and one side chick across town. How could it possibly run smoothly with at one time four women in the house? Now, the difference with that, and you know what I did, I made a mistake. It was not 24 years ago, it's 14 years ago, 2010 to 2024. My bad. I was thinking 22, the year 2000. But yes, so I, if you think about it, like emotions, depending on what people are going through in their life, who you are in your 20s may not be who you are in your 30s, and definitely not who you are in your 40s. And it's obvious that as the wives, Mary, Janelle, Robin, and let me pull up this article. The wives were growing and Cody wasn't. It's also noted that this was a part of their religion, right? And so a lot of times people hide behind religion, to give them an opportunity to do things that they would normally not do. But the interesting thing is, because religion was such a part of why the women agreed to do the polygamy, now that he's decided after losing all his wives, so it was Mary, Janelle, Christine, and Robin. That's and I missed Christine. So Mary, Janelle, Christine, and Robin. And so now Robin is the only one left. And she, because she was so committed to the religious piece of it, she decided that she's not really sure how to handle monogamy. Like she's so committed to polygamy now that Cody is insecure. He's feeling like he failed, which he did. And he's decided that he wants to pour all his love. He wants to give all his love to Robin. She's like, what am I supposed to do with all that? She's not sure how to relate to him with just the two of them, which is interesting. I'm not mad at that point, D. But yeah, you saw the women going through a maturation process. Cody did not. And not only has he not, but even the woman that's left, she is questioning the relationship and how she's supposed to manage in it now. I also think because, the religious aspect of it is such a big part of why these women get into this marriage. Once you take that out and you realize, okay, this is not necessarily the right thing, or this is not what I thought it was, then it's like, why am I with him anyway? I don't expect Cody and Robin to stay married. Basically took 15 months for the other three to leave. I expect it's probably going to take less than that for Robin to leave. Most importantly, a lot of these women, even though most of us cannot imagine feeling like we had to be in a marriage to somebody like that, in their culture, even though they're part of mainstream culture, they still are, kind of in their religious sect. A lot of the women really do feel like they have to do this. This is the right thing for them. This is how they keep their children, how they make sure that their children are okay. So the fact that they came into their own and found their own independence, and actually, I believe that one of them is remarried or is engaged right now. That's a beautiful thing to someone in a normal relationship, not under Cody's thumb. So, anyway, check that article out. It talks a little bit more about why Robin does not feel like she's comfortable with the new situation. She also mentions that she wants to talk to the other wives to make sure that she has their blessing. So you see how she's really been conditioned to believe that she needs the the like a stamp of approval or the cosign of another woman in order to move forward. But with one of the women being remarried and the other two definitely screaming their independence from the mountaintops, it's clear that they're not worried about Robin. They probably wish that she would get her own sense of self and leave as well. But I think this is probably a part of her journey. This is probably how she's going to come to that end, is to do that. And I think at that point, Cody is going to crash, because a big part of his identity has been the fact that he has all these wives, and we see he has not been able to keep his family together. This great idea that everybody thinks is the ideal for a man to have multiple wives. Cody has proven in 14 years that it's a really bad idea. And now it's just like, a situation for him to say, oh, now that I've gone through this problem, I've gone through all this pain, now I'm ready to give all my love to Robin, and I want to be in a monogamous relationship with her. And she's like, I don't know if I want you anymore. So we're going to send peace and blessings to Robin in 2024. We're going to hope that she, gets enough courage to do what's best for her. If what's best for her is saying, but Cody, I wish her well. But if not, we hope that she will join Mary, Janelle, and Christine and find her happiness. And I think only then will Cody be able to really figure out what's going on with him, because he's got a lot of stuff happening that you don't get a chance. Like, you can tell there's a lot of issues there that he's tried to hide behind all the wives, right? And so he hasn't grown. And so maybe if she leaves, he'll have a chance to mature. Now, the other side, he could probably just find some more wives. And I think that they said that, there's an option for him to, recruit more wives or to be open to having more wives. But after the way this whole thing played out, I think that it is bothering him. And I think he does realize that he's hurt them, and that he's done some things that he's probably not proud of at this point. So anyway, check that out. That is our first article for today. I thought that was interesting because that series, I remember when it premiered, and I remember thinking, how in the world does that work? What in the world? Those of us that can't imagine, it's difficult managing a relationship with one person, much less multiple people. Now, for those of you that are out there that love polygamy and are advocates of polygamy, God bless you. God bless you. It's just not for me, and I don't understand it. But I don't knock anybody. But I do think if you're going to do it, then you have to know, the reality of what comes with that. I think a lot of people fantasize, and it's like, oh, I can have amazing sex, or I can have help with the dishes and the kids. But at the end of the day, those are all additional personalities and emotional intelligence or emotional non-intelligence. All that is in that. So not necessarily just great sex, and not necessarily just help around the house with the kids. It actually is a lot more complicated than that. So anyway, good luck to Cody, but really good luck to Robin. Okay, moving on. The next article that I want to talk about is Love is Blind. Now, you guys know I did a couple of recaps on Love is Blind because this previous season was interesting. Interesting. There was actually Bliss and Zach from last season. are engaged. Actually, they got married and they're pregnant. They're expecting. So congratulations to Bliss and Zach. But everybody else is not in a good place. This show has been particularly um, like just trouble, problematic. I think from the inception, it's there's a whole bunch of issues with Love Is Blind that they have not talked about with the public. I think there's a lot that have come out in, like if you look at the blogs and see a lot of the articles that are written about the show, there's been a lot of things that have happened. So my article starts off by saying the pods may need to close permanently on Netflix's controversial dating series, Love Is Blind, if production doesn't make changes immediately. The social experiment based on testing singles' ability to fall in love solely on the tonality of a person's voice and their conversation is a long shot in today's culture, which is based heavily on physical appearance and the perception of perfection. Although most viewers would agree that they wouldn't be up for the challenge, it's entertaining to tune in and watch the train wreck of singles talking to each other through a wall and then being visually disappointed when they are introduced to their voice crush in person. This show, I don't know about you guys. Let me know what you think about this show. Married at First Sight, is one of my faves, right? Because you have this idea of getting married. Love Is Blind, it kind of pulls from the same perspective as Married at First Sight, but you get a chance to talk to this person through I don't know why they pick pods, but you get to talk to them through the pods and you get to hear what their personality is like and all that. But the problem with that, there's two problems with that, two huge problems with pods. Well, actually, there's more than that. But the initial problems are you can't see what the person looks like. And so when you're talking to someone through a wall and they can't see you, just like they're fantasizing about what you look like, I think people on that show fantasize about what they can present, right? So you can actually create a fake personality really easily because you're talking through a wall. And so it gives you the opportunity to really just create a story. And we see a lot of the personalities are so different when the people meet in person. Not only are you shocked at what the other person looks like and they're shocked at what you look like, but there's also this thing of like, this voice doesn't go with this person. This personality doesn't necessarily match what we've been talking about for the last few days. And it's really, really like plays out in a very ugly way. This last season of Love Is Blind was particularly bad. And I have a bone to pick with like reality show producers across the board. But these producers are some of the most irresponsible, in my opinion. You guys remember there was a couple there that ended up leaving because the young lady was pregnant. She found out she was pregnant. Which was interesting. But she was really upset with her boyfriend and really just angry that he was talking to other women, right? Actually, you know what? That was not that particular season, but Married at First, Love Is Blind. I got turned around. Love Is Blind. It's like the idea of someone being of a certain race and then them not being that race, or them looking different, or you not having the ability to understand. You're right. That was the ultimatum. That was all the way bad. But the idea of someone, and I don't want to really be blatant with this because there's been a lot of like situations happen where a person is of a different race and they actually prefer people that are not in their race, or they prefer people that are that look a certain way. Colorism, pops up. So we saw that with Love Is Blind this last time with Uche, and it just was a lot that was crazy as far as like, oh, well, I'm not attracted to her. She's not usually my type. It just opens up a can of worms. Aside from that, there have been casts on Love Is Blind that have said that they are dealing with like mental stress and strain because of the conditions. They film like all day, every day, and they don't get rest and they don't get a chance to kind of decompose. You're in this pod, which is really weird, but you're in a pod talking to several people, and then you go into a room with other people that you don't know, and you're staying there, and you're kind of like isolated. And so a lot of them have complained production will not allow them to leave once they sign the paperwork. But that's just what I think. I think people have to be careful. Everybody wants to be on reality TV, but being on reality TV isn't all it's cracked up to be. There's a lot that comes along with that. So this season, there have been some wins on Love Is Blind. I think maybe two or three on the very first season. There was a cute couple that got together and they're still together. But realistically, this is not a show that's going to produce a lot of wins, right? It's not a show that's going to produce a lot of love matches because it's too much of it. It's almost like on the other side of that wall, you can create a catfish. And that's what people do. And then when they get out and they see the person that they picked versus someone else that they told they didn't want to be with, and they like the way that person looks, it's just crazy. The guys have a real big problem, but even women too. That's one thing I will say about Love Is Blind. On Love Is Blind, the women are equally disappointed with the men, the way the men look, and they're not able to hold it down. Like the women get out, they see somebody else, and they want to make a go for it. It's just a mass train wreck. By the time the couples, all the engaged couples, because at the end of their time in the pods, you decide if you want to propose to or you want to accept a proposal from the person that you chose. And then all the couples that are engaged get together in one location. And then people start looking around and seeing who they were talking to, matching the voice with the physical body. And they become very unhappy, usually with who they pick in comparison to someone else. Then there's been some people that are just blatant with it, and then others try to hide it. But either way, it's hurtful. And I just hope that they will restructure this show before it comes back. I think that it's just such a narrow perception and percentage of people that are going to fall in love with someone's voice behind a wall and what they have to say, what they choose to say, because they get to talk. But again, you can create anything because you want this person to see you differently than anybody else has. So it's super weird. But as I said, I think that they probably need to restructure before they come back, before they end up with a lawsuit, because there have been several castmates that I think have tried or have complained publicly, but it won't be a good look if they don't make some changes. Last part about Love Is Blind before we move on. That show is hosted by Nick and Vanessa Lachey. And this last season, I think they did a very poor job of being objective with all the people in the pods. Vanessa has her favorites, and you definitely can tell. Nick just kind of stays on the fray. He stays on the outer skirts. He doesn't really get involved. He doesn't really hold anybody accountable. He just kind of stays out the way. As Vanessa that goes in with the accountability, but she only goes in with certain people. She doesn't go in with everybody. So anyway, Love Is Blind. I'm going to give Love Is Blind a thumbs down because it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. And the likelihood of anybody staying in a relationship that they met the person through a wall is really slim to none. I think it's worse than Married at First Sight. Um, so anyway, that's what I think. You guys let me know what you think. If you guys are just tuning in, this is Pop Culture Power, and we are going through several articles that I wrote over the last couple of weeks about some very popular reality shows. We talked a little bit about, initially tonight, we talked about Sister Wives, which airs on TLC. And then we just finished talking about Love Is Blind, which airs on Netflix. And so now we're going to one of my faves. One of my faves. We've got to get into it. Let's talk about Married to Medicine. Married to Medicine. Phaedra Park's behavior on Married to Medicine proves she never deserved another chance on Bravo. Phaedra Parks finally got a chance to be on reality TV again, but her behavior on Married to Medicine proves she is still as problematic as ever. Okay, first of all, I have to start by saying I know a lot of people love Phaedra on Married to Medicine. Okay, I'm not even saying that I don't. I'm not even saying that I don't, because she definitely brings. You don't expect a show about doctors to be dratchet or filled with drama, right? You expect a show with doctors to have a little bit of decorum, to actually be about Black excellence. And for the most part, it is. Maybe half, maybe 50%. But this season, they added Phaedra Parks. Now, I know that on the show they don't want to talk about Phaedra's past, but as a viewer of Real Housewives of Atlanta and a viewer of Married to Medicine, I'm not crazy. I know what happened over there already on Real Housewives of Atlanta with Phaedra. Y'all know what happened, and the fact that Married to Medicine doesn't want to talk about it, that's cool, but we're going to talk about it, okay? So my article starts by saying, if you are a Married to Medicine fan wondering what the heck Phaedra Parks is doing with the doctors this season, you are not alone. The debut of the dramatic Phaedra to the more conservative Bravo offering of Married to Medicine was an obvious attempt to shake up the cast. Duh, right? Phaedra has been missing from reality TV since 2017 after a major faux pas on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Reality stars are notorious for sharing little white lies to accompany shade, but Phaedra took that tradition to an entirely different dimension when she planted an unthinkable, ugly lie about castmate Candy Burris to Portia Williams. If the other housewives were playing paintball with their allegations of gossip and hearsay, Phaedra was shooting with real bullets when she accused Candy of attempting to drug Portia to allegedly have sex with her in a supposed sex dungeon. The accusation was so heinous that Portia couldn't imagine Phaedra would lie about something like that, especially because Phaedra suggested she learned about the plan for intoxication from the horse's mouth. So this is the thing. I know you guys remember, if you're a Housewives fan, Phaedra told Portia that Candy, had joked about, drugging her, putting something in her drink to get her to loosen up, I guess, to have a threesome with her. Portia was just overwhelmed, and as anybody would be, that's crazy. So, it just wasn't believed that someone would say a lie like that. It ended up being Phaedra lying all the way. And at the reunion, it was the craziest thing because once Andy asked directly, why, Phaedra told Portia that, and why Portia believed that, and Portia was clear that Phaedra told her and she believed it. And then Phaedra just basically backtracked on the lie. It looked crazy. It was one of the most awkward moments in reality TV history, specifically Real Housewife history. The reunion with Phaedra just sitting there and saying, "Well, I'm sorry, I'm sorry," and then and then Candy was just like, "Ooh, ooh," and then Portia was like, it was nuts. It was absolutely nuts, and I was just like, how is Phaedra possibly going to come back? I was glad when she was gone that season because that's just taking it to the extreme. I understand, Tina Bree, you love Phaedra. And I mean, Phaedra is good for she does stuff that nobody else would do. I mean, nobody else would think to tell that type of lie on somebody. She also, I hate to have to point out, but in the article, I had to remind people, she also lied about her due date with her first child. So again, a very awkward moment in reality TV. She's at a table at this point. Nene is still there with the housewives, and Phaedra is pregnant, and they're trying to figure out, her due date so they can support her. And Phaedra basically says that she's went to her doctor, and her doctor tells her that she's about to that she'll be soon getting ready to have the baby. And basically, they're like, but you're only supposed to be 7 months. Like, what is going on? And Phaedra continues to lie, even when it's clear that she lied about when she got pregnant. And at this is one of those moments where you just be like, because everybody knew what she was doing. I mean, she wasn't married when she conceived. So she was trying to fudge those dates. But as all of us understand how a gestational calendar works, any woman who is of childbearing age understands how a gestational calendar works. We knew that she was lying. So as opposed to just copping to the lie, she never does. She stands on the lie. I will give her that. She stands on the lie. Now, when it came to lying about Candy, because Andy was like, really, like, it was a shocking moment. And he was just like, I mean, Phaedra could have, if she wasn't on a show, you tell a lie like that about someone, that can be like that's a criminal case. Like, you're trying to drug somebody and technically have sex with them. Like, that's crazy. So she comes on Married to Medicine. looking completely different. Um, looking completely different. But a lot of people look completely different. You know, it's cool. She looks completely different than that first season of. If you look at the first season that Phaedra came to Real Housewives of Atlanta, and then look at the first season of Phaedra on Married to Medicine, it don't look like the same person. But I get it. She's leaned into her reality TV persona. I understand. She's very fabulous with all the Fendi furs and the labels and everything, and it's wonderful. But it just doesn't fit the doctors. Like I see like Dr. Jackie is like working hard and has her OBGYN office, and then she has her spa. Dr. Heavenly is cleaning the teeth and doing the gossip on the side with Carlos, and Toya is married to an emergency room physician, and Simone is, taking care, doing pep smears. And I mean, these women are working women, right? Except for Toya. But Toya has a new wine line, so I'm excited about that. But it just doesn't seem to be any room for just the shenanigans that I feel like Phaedra is going to bring. The first thing that she did this season is bring Sweet Tea, who is now married to Dr. G. She brings Quad, who is Dr. G's ex, to Sweet Tea's bachelorette party. Just stupid. And I'm sure the production put her up to it. I'm sure. I'm sure Phaedra didn't do that on her own. But it's just not giving Fitz the Married to Medicine. The title of the show and Phaedra are just in direct opposition to each other. It doesn't make sense to me. I think a lot of people, even some of the other things that have happened on Married to Medicine, you think Married to Medicine and you really want to see doctors, and you really want to see people affiliated with doctors, and what is that lifestyle like? I don't know how Phaedra gets her money. I don't really know. I just know she comes in with very expensive things and has a very expensive house, but I don't know where the money comes from. I have no idea. I just don't think it fits. Now, if she did say she was dating a doctor, but I don't necessarily trust her unless we see it. She just tells she's good for telling tall tales. So I just don't know if it's true or not. But again, she looks amazing, and she probably will give people the drama that they want. And so I think that, hey, C Boogie, I think that for those of you that like the drama and like the ratchet, along with your reality TV, we'll be happy that Phaedra is there. She's definitely going to give us that. And she's also going to give us some good looks. Fashion is not really a staple on Married to Medicine, but with Phaedra there, then we'll get a chance to see some, the newest designs. Again, I don't know where they come from. We don't know where they come from. We don't know what Phaedra does. She's a lawyer. She's a funeral director, but she's not in the courtroom right now, obviously. I don't think that she's in the funeral home. I don't really know what she's doing. She's a very smart woman. She's obviously been on a part of reality television from behind the scenes. You guys know that she was a part of being Bobby Brown. Like she's done some amazing things. She's very smart. I'm not taking that away from her. What I'm saying is that, like a lot of women today, Phaedra would rather be known for her aesthetic than her brain. And that just isn't the vibe that Married to Medicine gives, right? So in any case, I think she's better on a housewife show. Maybe she should go to Dubai and be on the Dubai Housewives. I think that would make more sense. I just don't think her on Married to Medicine makes sense. But I mean, Dr. Heavenly gives us some tea and shade, but I don't think any of them just lie like that. Like the outright lies is what I'm concerned about. But in any case, that was my article on Phaedra. I know there were some people that were upset, and I just want to say this. I want to give a mid show disclaimer. Okay, so I am a writer. These are op-eds, right? These are all op-ed pieces for Collider. They're not facts. This is my opinion, and my opinion will change according to what happens on the show. If she proves to be an amazing addition and to bring substance to Married to Medicine, then I'll write an article that will support that. But I'm going to write from an authentic perspective of what I see. And so I've had a couple of the ladies reach out to me upset about what I've written, but I'm a journalist. I am out of my PR bag, and I am a journalist. I am writing from what we're giving. We're writing from the edit. I'm not writing from the reality because I don't know you personally. I'm not involved in your life. All I know is what I see on the television, and that's what I'm writing about. Now, there are some people that I do know personally, right? But I feel like it's only fair if I write from a real perspective of what I see on the television as opposed to what I know about them, because that's not really privy. That information is not privy. So some of these people I have worked with in my past, but I feel like I have a responsibility now as a writer to just write what we all see as viewers. So that's my disclaimer. And they can be upset with me, but I'm not on their payroll, so I really don't care. And that's that. But yeah, I thought that what we've seen from Phaedra this far is ridiculous. Like um, she brought Quad to Sweet Tea's bachelorette party, which was ridiculous. I mean, I guess Sweet Tea was being a good sport, because I don't think any other woman on that cast would have allowed the ex-wife of their husband to be at their bachelorette party. That they were trying to haze that poor girl. And then she invited everybody to this weird funeral session where Quad, everybody had to wear black. Yeah, I'm not lying. This sounds crazy, but it happened on the show. Everybody had to wear black. And then Quad pops up out of the casket in all white jumper, a white romper. And she says that she's arisen like a phoenix, and that she's there to arise and prove that she's a phoenix. And she wants to have, connect with all her friends, reconnect. And it just didn't land. Everybody's sitting there like, what the hell is this? But to have everybody come dressed in black, and Phaedra was looking fly, and as she could, just as sharp as she wanted to be, up there with her little hat and net, and then Quad is in the white romper. I didn't. It's just games. And I feel like the amount of time that Dr. Jackie, Dr. Simone, Dr. Hemley spent in school, they don't have time for these games. They don't have time for these games. Phaedra actually spent a lot of time in school as well, in law school and funeral director school, but she seems to have time for the games. So I don't know. Anyway, moving on. That's my take on Married to Medicine. This season is definitely going to be hilarious. I will tell you this. Yes, Toya C mentioned I hit them with that Nene line. People went bananas when I wrote an article that basically said that Dr. Heavenly was the new version of Nene. And let me tell you y'all why I said that before I go to the next article. I said that because Nene was known and praised for her shade. I don't know if you guys have watched Married to Medicine, but Dr. Heavenly is hilarious with the shade. And I don't feel like Dr. Heavenly is mean spirited. I do feel like Nene is mean spirited. What was interesting to me is when I said that, I kind of compared the two of them, and I said, Nene is, I feel like Dr. Heavenly went to dentist school to be a dentist, and then she's married to this doctor. They have a marriage that is actually stable. They've been together for years. They met in college. Like, it just is a better storyline for me than Nene, who used to be a stripper and then, married a guy that had a lot of money. And I don't really know what she did after that. I'm not really sure. It was kind of some years where there was a lot of weirdness happening. And then she gets on Real Housewives of Atlanta, and she kind of bullies a lot of the other women. And she creates this personality that's just mean and a bully. And I just feel like I would rather have somebody that's funny with the bullying than not. So I vote for Dr. Heavenly. I vote for Dr. And I stand behind it. And people say, Christal, you're being mean to Nene. And I'm like, have you guys watched Real Housewives of Atlanta? I'm not mean to anyone, but those women are mean to each other. They're mean to each other. Like, it's ridiculous. They're literally famous for being mean to each other. And when a writer says something, then we're the mean ones. But I'll take it. It's fine. I'll take it. I'll take it. But I'm gonna keep on writing. I'm gonna keep on writing as long as they let me keep writing. Moving on to the next. Moving on to the next. Okay. Let's see where we should go next. Let's see. Okay. Let's see here. Woo. Juan Dixon. You guys know we're in Potomac. We're in Potomac. Juan Dixon's emotional volatility is hurting Robin Dixon's dynamic with the cast of Real Housewives of Potomac. Robin Dixon is a shell of her former self because she continues allowing Juan's emotional abuse to dictate her interaction with the Real Housewives of Potomac cast. I'm just going to read y'all the intro and then we're going to get into this. Robin, Robin, Robin. Watching 44-year-old Robin Dixon kowtow under her husband Juan's continued emotional abuse is hard to digest. But by season 8, episode 7, Real Housewives of Potomac viewers are immune to the couple's antics and Robin's tears on the reality series. The episode starts with Robin defending Juan's current employment predicament to the rest of the ladies on a group outing. Juan being fired is like a part of him has been taken away from him, she says in a confessional. Seeing him go through this pain with no plan, that really hurts my heart for my husband. I don't appreciate the assumptions that are being made. This is just a sensitive and emotional situation for us. While a woman having empathy for her husband's pain isn't atypical, Juan hasn't returned the favor. Just a few seasons ago, while Robin was dealing with seasonal depression coupled with the impacts of COVID-19 quarantine, Juan told her she was lazy and unattractive. I'm going to read that over again. Just a few seasons ago, while Robin was dealing with seasonal depression coupled with the impact of the COVID-19 quarantine, Juan told her she was lazy and unattractive. When she asked him to handle her with more care, he flat out refused. More so, Robin is able to express whatever emotions, most of which are negative, at any point towards her co stars. But when it comes to Juan, she's mute. Now, I want to say this. First of all, this is a lesson to women because there are so many out there. There are so many women out there that are mean to other women because of their man. And thank you, D. D. I appreciate that. Hopefully, I get to a show that you're watching. We still have Ready to Love coming up at the end. I gotta say that to the end because this clip is so crazy. Robin has basically cut off all her castmates because she's defending Juan, who continues to make her look crazy. He continues to embarrass her. He continues to talk crazy to her. So she's with the cast fighting for Juan, and then she goes home, and then Juan is hateful to her. It's crazy. And as a result of that, in the last couple of episodes, we see Robin trying this whole pity thing. Just beat me up. Just beat me up. And it's like, girl, ain't nobody trying to beat you up. You had no problem accusing other people's husbands of doing things, even when you knew it was a lie. Giselle, her bestie Giselle, said that Chris was being inappropriate with her when he asked her to talk about being friends with Candace, and she knew Chris wasn't trying to holler at Giselle. I don't know if Giselle knows it because Giselle probably assumes that all men want to holler at her, but Robin knew that that man wasn't trying to holler at Giselle. She, has negative things to say. She laughs when people say things about, well, Mia and Gordon, that's a whole nother next week topic, but she's okay with everyone else's marriage being criticized. But then when people, it's not even that they're criticizing her marriage, they're just looking at the fact that he's out being photographed with other women consistently. And Robin is so sensitive to it that she can't even realize that the women are trying to have her back. That's what's so crazy about this. Like, they're trying to support you and you won't even let them. Your best friend tried to have an intervention with you. Giselle tried to have an intervention with Robin and try to ask her, well, Ron isn't really respecting you. He knows that you're on this TV show. He knows that you are, in the public eye. He paid for a girl's hotel room. Really? Like, he's putting you in a position to where you look crazy. But Robin won't. It's like she just is like, she plugs her ears and she doesn't want to listen. Not only that, she kind of becomes belligerent and defensive to where she doesn't want to be friends with the other ladies because of it. She's choosing Juan over the other women. And it's crazy because Juan is never choosing her. I honestly do not believe that Juan would be there if they weren't on the show. The way he treats her on camera, even when she's on the phone with him, he's so dismissive. He's so disrespectful. It really is. It like a few seasons ago, my feelings were hurt for her. Now I'm like, girl, you choose this. You choose this. I understand that's been the love of your life. There are a lot of us that have been through Breakups, the love of your life doesn't always work. Even if you're have green eyes and blonde hair. The love of your life doesn't always work. Sometimes you've got to have the strength to move on. And I think that everybody will exhale a sigh of relief when Robin finally wakes up, but she may not. So in the meantime, she's alienating these friendships with other ladies. Now, I'm not saying that that's a big loss because the friendships on any of these housewife shows are very temperamental and fair weather friend-ish. But I think Robin and Giselle had a real friendship from what we see, from what we see. And so for her to really close out even Giselle, if you guys remember when they got married, they didn't want anyone at the wedding. They didn't want anyone at the wedding, not even their family. Like it was just them and the boys, and it just doesn't feel. It feels like Juan wants to go, and she needs to let him go. She needs to let him go. He's not into her like that anymore. What they had is two beautiful children, and she needs to let it go. It is exhausting to watch, Robin. It really is. And I think that it's okay if you're not friends with another one because of how she treats you. But if you're not friends with her because she has your back, then that's a problem. And she's really upset with the other women for having her back. Not all of them, because all of them don't have her back. But and after this season, probably even less will because she allowed everybody to think that her relationship was in a great place. She pointed fingers at Candace and her husband, Chris. She, sat and listened to Karen's allegations against Gordon, which were 100% right. But she never came and said, "Hey, you know what? I'm having problems." She wanted to make like everything was good with her, so that she would not be under the microscope. But you're going to be under the microscope because your husband is out here doing things in public. He's doing it in public, and when she tries to talk to him about it, he yells at her or he dismisses her or he gets frustrated with her. Like it's ridiculous. So in any case, I don't want to spend too much time on Robin because it's like we're watching this just behavior that is really strange. Why she is determined. She got up and walked outside. She's crying. She's miserable. And the person that's making her miserable is not the other women. It's the person at her house. It's Juan. If she would get rid of him, she'd be so much better off. And I mean, Robin's a beautiful woman. I think she'd probably even be a better person. She'd probably be a happier person and would attract a better situation if she would let him go. But as long as she keeps holding on and hanging on and by the hair of her chinny chin chin, she's just gonna stay miserable. And I hate that. I hate that for any woman. And so this is all like, in fun, but the reality is it's really sad. And I think that everybody, all the viewers really want to see Robin come to her senses and realize that she is much better than she's being treated. You know, if anything, he should not put her in a position to where she's ridiculed publicly and disrespected. Like that's disrespectful of him. And then secondly, he's a liar. And she'll say something like, who says the woman couldn't pay for her hotel room? Why do you have to pay? You guys are having whole financial issues. You've lost your job, sir. What sense does that make for you to be paying for someone's hotel room? None. Like that's not something that you should be doing. And was that with Robin's money? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. We're gonna move on from that. I don't like that. I don't like that story. But in any case, poor Robin. Robin. Wake up, girl. Smell the coffee. Put some coffee under her nose, Giselle, or something, because this is sad. And by the time she wakes up, I don't want her to wait too long. Like, wake up soon. Like, you still, snatched and beautiful and can, take that someplace else. Most importantly, just wake up for yourself because that's what's happening inside of her is coming out. So her, fussing with the other ladies is because she's really not happy. There's no way you can be happy when you're being mistreated that way. So good luck to Robin. Good luck to Robin. Okay, let's go to one of my housewives from Atlanta. I talked about the very beautiful Kenya Moore. Ooh, Kenya Moore. Kenya Moore settled for Mark Daly, and the repercussions were brutal. Kenya Moore was gifted a divorce from Mark Daly for Christmas, but the writing was on the wall for years. And we know that the writing was on the wall for years with Kenya and Mark. I don't even think there was a time that we met Mark that we believed that this was going to be a great love story. I just don't think it was in the cards. Um, the article starts out by saying Kenya Moore has been a fan favorite on The Housewives of Atlanta since she showed up with a peach and a twirl in season 5. The former 1993 Miss USA was built for reality TV and brought the confidence and flair needed to dominate a franchise that represented Atlanta, Georgia to the fullest. Kenya swooped in fabulously from Los Angeles and repositioned the Atlanta spotlight on herself. Her formula was of equal parts beauty, brains, and wit, working in her favor when interacting with her castmates. The one thing that formula didn't guarantee was the validation of being a wife, which most of the cast members tend to be when joining the series. Fans recognize the Bravo produced show titled Real Housewives hasn't been literal since its inception, but cast members try their best to produce a plus one with the potential of being inducted by a ring. So, first of all, my problem with a lot of these shows is that women are vying for validation by proving they have a man. So they go out and they enlist men that don't have any interest in them really on a real level, and they try to get these men to show up with them on the show so that it looks like they have a relationship. Because for today's woman, specifically the black woman, we have to have it all. We have to have it all, or we have to look like we have it all even if we don't, right? And so you have to have the big mansion, you have to have designer clothes, you have to have the amazing car, you have to have the fancy friends, you have to have the snatch body, and you have to have the man that fits that picture, right? So Kenya has pretty much, I mean, she was freaking 1993 Miss USA. I remember that. I remember, being younger and seeing her win that and that being a huge thing, being really proud of her and really proud of the impression that she showed up when she won, Miss USA coming from Detroit. So that was a huge thing for black women everywhere because not only was she a black woman, but she was a chocolate woman, right? Which was amazing because we were like, okay, we know that Vanessa Williams could win Miss America, but she's also very white adjacent, which is nothing, no disrespect to her, but for a chocolate sister to win, it really meant like that was representing us, not something that was close to white, but it was us. So, and King is drop dead, like one of the most naturally beautiful women in the world. Um, Again, she's someone on the show that's rewarded for being negative and nasty towards other women, which is a problem. But looking at her storyline, she had everything. She's always been very connected in Hollywood, right? Because she had a lot of relationships, not necessarily romantic relationships, but there were a lot of relationships, right? People knew her. She was the type of person that could show up on a TV scene for a cameo and you recognize her, right? We all remember her cameo in Martin. We all remember her, on different, shows, sitcoms that she would come on and she would just be beautiful, right? Beautiful, beautiful. You see her and no one looks like Kenya. Okay, so fast forward to her joining the Housewives of Atlanta. If anybody remembers that first season that she was on, she was dating this guy named Walter. It was very clear that Walter did not want to be in a relationship. And it was just like she looked like she was playing herself. And it's funny to me how a woman that beautiful and that accomplished still will play themselves when it comes to a guy. But I feel like it was just for the show. So the situation with Walter didn't work out. There was a couple other people that she tried. Then she had this other guy that was like a physical trainer. It just always has been bad in the relationship department with Kenya. It's never, and the rest of her castmates love that because it's like, okay, she's so beautiful, but she doesn't have a man. And I hate the way women use having a man as something to make fun of someone else about. There before the grace of God goes all of us. Like you don't know what will happen to your relationship. So making fun of someone else because they're not in a relationship is asinine. I've always said that. I believe that. It is the most ridiculous thing ever. But anyway, Kenya comes back to after one season with Mark Daly. Now, Mark is I guess he would be a handsome man as far as like the typical standard of what is attractive. You can understand why she was attracted to him. But in his actions and the way he showed up, it was never like he was really into her the way we wanted him to be, right? Because if this is going to be her husband, then he needs to really be into her and he needs to be clear that he's into her. We never saw that from Mark. We never saw it. We never, not once, saw Mark act like he was truly into Kenya. Now, they got married off camera because, according to Kenya, Mark did not want to be on the show initially. So they get married and on an island, I think it was St. Lucia. Um, the pictures kind of make some of the pictures make their way back, and he doesn't want to be on the show. The other ladies are kind of, she's gone for a show. She was missed. And then she comes back with Mark, and then she's pregnant. Now, first of all, it was amazing because everybody knew that Kenya, what we didn't talk about in all her accolades and all her beautiful, proof of her beauty, physical beauty, was that she had some trauma that happened to her when she was younger that she's talked really candidly about, right? So understanding that her mother didn't raise her and her mother wasn't kind to her was it's just a tragic story. It kind of explains why she's a mean girl, right? I understand people, you guys are saying that she's a mean girl. Yes. But when you look at her upbringing and the fact that her mother denied her, even when she was, it was clear that she was her mother's daughter, and she just keeps denying her. Like, even to this day, her mother won't acknowledge her. It's very strange. And for a woman to have been crowned Miss USA and your mother still not want to acknowledge you, that's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt a lot. So even though I don't condone her mean girlness and I don't like it, I do know that I haven't been through anything like that, especially when you're young. Like, I cannot imagine being young and knowing that your mom doesn't want you. And your mom is, you know who your mom is. Like, it's one thing if people are mean to you, you don't know your mom, right? But for your mom to be in the family and then, deny you, that's really hurtful. I agree. So she should be at this age, at this big age, she should be accountable for what she's doing. But my point in saying that was, I think that's why family was so important to her, because she grew up without having a mom that loved her. She did have an aunt, but I don't think that aunt ever really filled the shoes of a mother. So I think that's why she wanted a baby so badly. I was ecstatic to see her actually able to carry her baby, and actually to, have her baby girl, and her daughter Brooklyn is adorable. Um, but we knew that Mark was not going to be a good husband. We knew it. We knew it. I feel like she wanted a handsome guy because she wanted to have a beautiful child, and she accomplished that. Ironically, right now her daughter looks exactly like Mark. Like, Kenya is drop dead gorgeous. The daughter is beautiful, but she looks just like the dad. Anyway, as time went on, we see little snippets of Mark on the show, and he's very dismissive. He almost has like the same type of energy as Juan. It's just like a very dismissive energy, right? Like, you're getting on my nerves constantly. Not saying that Kenya couldn't get on somebody's nerves, because I believe that she can, but I don't believe she was doing anything to Mark, because you see her personality change when she was around him. She really wanted love. I think Kenya really wants love. She desires that, right? So as things start to get worse, they go through a separation. She holds on for a really long time to the separation. And then finally they start the divorce. Divorce, 3 years, 3 years going on, 3 years, three. Finally, they come to a settlement. Now, this was so weird because in the settlement, because when Mark was introduced, Kenya, built him up as this restaurateur that had all this money, and he didn't want to leave his businesses in New York because he was so successful to come to Atlanta. When he would come here, he was always having a jet set. Do y'all know in the paperwork, this man said he gets $5,000 a month compared to Kenya's $50,000 a month? I just wanted to put that out there. So again, all that glitters is not gold. And sometimes when we want something so bad, we ignore very obvious red flags. So Mark, actually, we learned that he's not this amazing businessman. He's just, you know, getting by. But now he's going to get by with a little extra money from Kenya, because Kenya is going to have to pay child support. We did not see this going this way for her. We really didn't. We really did not see this going this way. Kenya, more hair care. We did not see this coming this way. Not only that, but Mark actually tried to put information in the documents that would state that Kenya would have to allow Brooklyn to be on a reality show with him. Crazy. The person that claimed he didn't want to be on reality TV and was giving her such a hard time, she actually left the show for a season. This Negro now wants to be in on television and was supposed to be filming a reality show. Like, he's just being so spiteful and hateful towards her. It's really sad. And the fact that now she's going to, y'all, we have to be careful, women. Sometimes you may want a baby, you may want a man, but just wait on God, because you don't want to jump out there and then you end up on the other end. You end up in a Mary J. Blige situation, and that's where Kenya's at. So we just want to send loving energy towards Kenya, because that would piss me off to no end. And then especially because allegedly, we don't know them personally. Allegedly, he's not seeing the daughter a lot anyway. And it's all Kenya. I mean, we know Kenya is she's a very conscientious mother. And I will say, just outside of her, Real Housewives of Atlanta persona, you can tell that's genuine. With Kenya, I don't know what is genuine except that. Like, sometimes when she's going back and forth with the ladies, we don't know if she's doing it to be snarky. We don't know if she's doing it to make a good scene. We don't know what. But what we do know is that she really loves her daughter, and she's a great mother. And so it's painful that he is using, just like, it just, the things are changing, ladies. Things are changing. The men be women, and the women be men. And it's just not good. But I do know that, here in the city of Atlanta, I've seen Kenya out with him several times before all this happened, and he definitely just had super dismissive energy, and I did not like it. She definitely should have gotten a prenup. I think that's what the lesson in this is that, in those situations, you definitely need to get a prenup, because sometimes what a person suggests they have and what they actually have are two different things. We saw that with Ready to Love with Simone and Rashid. Imagine if Simone and Rashid had got married and she didn't have a prenup. Ooh, child. Oof. So, yes, that is going to be a problem for our good sis. He is supposed to be providing, but to think that he was only earning $5,000 a month, and there's nothing wrong with that wage, right? I'm not shaming that wage, but what I am saying is that we're in a culture where everybody just inflates stuff so much, and he was presented as this super successful restaurateur, and there's no way that that's your earnings if you're a successful restaurateur with several businesses. Just not that way. So anyway, you know, energy to our good sis. And I hope that she's able to move on, and just, I hope that she's able to find love. I hope that Kenya's able to find real love. Now she has her baby out the way. Maybe that won't be such a, focus. And because, I know she's talking about having another baby, but let's just, let's just hope that this one is what she needs. And if she has another one, just that it will come with the right person and not with Mark. Because I did hear that she was talking about using his sperm, and I think they had another embryo, but we're just going to hope that that's not the truth. So, and you're right, prenup doesn't have anything to do with child support. It absolutely does not. But I do think that it could have made the divorce go quicker, because they were in divorce proceedings for 3 years. And if she had a prenup in place, that definitely would have made that process go a lot quicker. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let us move on. Actually, I think we're just about at the last. I got to talk about Ready to Love because it just Ready to Love. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so irritated with this clip. Ready to Love, make a move. Cam gives Zadia a cryptic parting gift. Part 2 of the Ready to Love, Make a Move reunion shows Cam finding the courage to end things with Zadia with a parting gift. Now, this article is on Collider. That was the title. If you're interested in reading it, you can go, and on Collider, I have I have the clip. Also, if you want to see the clip, you can go to my Instagram, which is right there, at the real Christal Jordan, and you can see who, child, you can see the clip. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about it, because I know people were really upset. There has been a lot of response about this. In the clip, Cam is sitting there. He's trying to explain to Zadia that he really wants them to be friends. He's really learned a lot from this relationship. He's learned what it takes to be in a relationship. And he brings her, he brings her these gifts. The gifts are pictures, framed pictures. Now, you guys remember on the show a couple of weeks ago where he did that photo shoot of her, right? You remember that, where she was leaning against the fence and he was taking pictures, because we all know that Cam is a photographer. If you go to his Instagram, which is the Cam Show, THECAM Show, you will see his business, and he is a photographer. Now, I don't know when he does the pharmacist stuff, because on the page, all we see is the photography stuff. So I don't really know when he's doing that, but the doctor of pharmacy seems to take a backseat to the photography, but he's obviously a very good photographer, because if you go to his photography page, he's got a lot of beautiful women on his page, right? It's all women, 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 which has got to be amazing for a single bachelor. So Zadia is there, and she's saying, well, you know what? I wish you had told me this. And that's where I was like, ah. For those of you that have listened to the show, we do recaps every Friday, and we do midweek recaps on Wednesday. Please tune in with us tomorrow, Wednesday. Cam has been trying to tell Zadia for the entire time he's been on the show. He has told her that his schedule wasn't working. With this schedule with the television production, he's suggested that she go date other people. He suggested that this could be a lot, and even said, moving forward, I mean, it could go on to friendship or something else. He wasn't, he didn't know. So hold on, my friend wants to come and say hello to you all. Sugar Pie agrees. Sugar Pie, do you think that Zadia, I think he was trying to tell her, she's got her hoodie on. You gotta show the people your hoodie? Isn't that cute? She has got her fit on. And she's got her little champagne bottle here. This is her rosé. Here you go. Sit down next to mommy. So, yeah, Cam tried to tell Zadia in many different ways that he was not in a place in his life that he could commit to a relationship, right? So every time, I'm going to just kind of replay this for you guys. So she would say, well, the communication, and we're trying, and, I just feel like, you don't always have time. And he would say, well, I don't have time. I'm very busy, and I understand if you need to move on. And she would say, well, do you want me to move on? And he would say, I understand if you do. And then she would say, well, I've decided I'm going to keep you around. And then it was adorable. She's a very beautiful girl. She would say, I'm going to keep you around. And you could see Cam would be like, okay. And then the next week, same conversation. And he would say, well, this is a lot, and I'm supposed to be doing other things, but I find myself here with you. And the audience, we would be sitting there like, girl, just let him go. This is the thing, ladies. A man often, because he doesn't want to hurt your feelings, isn't going to say, I don't want you. Like, it's almost like women want to hear, I don't want to be with you. But if he says, I like you, it's just anytime a man tells you that you can date other people, you have got to get your shoes on and run. Lace them up and get on. You should never. That is the ultimate sign that he is not into you. The ultimate sign. And it's not that he doesn't like her. He just doesn't want that with her right now. He may not want that with her at all. But then when he brought the pictures, and he's a photographer, I was like, okay, We learned from Vernisha, these guys are paid to be on TV. So Cam was complaining about his time, but he was getting a check, a small check. I'm sure it was a small check. We don't want to act like it was an extensive check, small check, but he was getting a small check. So you can't, you ask him, does he want to stay? If he said, this is the thing, because there are a lot of women on my page that were saying that he played her, he was wrong. And so I'm going to pose a question to the chat. To everybody that's in the chat today, we have around 60 something people here. You guys, please make sure that you like this, but answer me this. If on week three, Cam had said when Zadia said, so I've been thinking and I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna keep you around. If Cam had said, you know what, I had a great time with you, but I just don't think this is gonna be a fit for me and I think you should move on to somebody else. People would have crucified him. What do you guys think the response would have been if he said that to her? If he told her when she was, all made up and looking at him with stars in her eyes, and he says, I don't really want to be with you. Y'all would have killed him online. He would have gotten crucified. No way he would not have. So the fact that he kept giving her very clear clues that this was not going to be a good fit for him. If you guys remember when they had the conversation about DC and moving, and he said, well, he was very clear. He said, where I'm at in my life right now, I don't plan on moving anytime soon, especially not to DC. And then Zadia kind of got upset and she was like, well, you shouldn't say no without seeing it first. Girl, he done told you this man has a business and he's trying to do his business and he doesn't want to. And anyway, the show was called Make a Move from the women. So really the show was asking the women, would they move? Zadia tried to flip the script and be like, well, you should move to DC. He didn't want to. He did not want to. And he didn't. He did not want to. He did not want to. He did the best that he could. And I do think that he's getting penalized for being a good guy because all the women were just like, oh, how dare he? And it's like he tried to tell, he had tried to told you. He tried to told you. If a man tells you that you should date other people, if a man tells you that he doesn't have time right now for what he's doing, those are all signs that he's trying to let you down easy. He's trying to be considerate. And also, a lot of times we make bad decisions because we're not thinking with our head, we're thinking with other parts of our body. And I just feel like maybe because they did spend the first night together, we don't know what happened. I don't want to speculate, but allegedly, something could have happened. Definitely enough happened to where she felt like she wanted to keep him around because you can never rely on a man to lead. Like you have to be the one that says, you know what, this is not working for me. Because if you don't do that, if you say, I want you to treat me this way and I want X, Y, and Z, and then he doesn't give you that and you stay, that's telling him that you're okay with taking less. And then she said she was okay with taking less because even at the very end, he mentioned friendship. And she was like, well, we'll see what happens. He did not want to be in a relationship. He didn't. He did not. He does not. The Cam show has stuff to do, women to take pictures of, and he doesn't want to do that right now. And that doesn't make him a bad person. It doesn't even make him a bad person because he tried to let her down easy. She should have picked up on the hints. We all have a responsibility to ourselves. We cannot, I hate when people say, God, send me a sign. Meanwhile, 8 signs have slapped you upside the head and you just keep on looking the other way. Well, God, remove him from my life if you don't want him here. God has sent you several signs. You keep ignoring the signs. You in the boat, the river is dry, you not even moving. Just send me a sign, Lord. I'm just gonna stay in this boat until you send me a sign. Ain't no water in the ocean, ain't no water in the river. What is you doing? Leave. Pick up your paddle and be on your way. But so Kay feels it makes him a bad person because he agreed to be in the show. I just don't think that. I think that he agreed to be on the show. A lot of men agreed to be on the show. They probably were very desperate to find men to be on the show. But at the end of the day, if a person tells you, I don't have time, I'm not ready for a relationship, and then she says, I'm going to keep you around. I mean, let me ask you guys a question. If your job, if you told your job, well, you know what? I no longer can work a 40-hour week. I can no longer work a 40-hour week. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be what hours I'm going to be able to commit to you. Uh, and your supervisor said, well, I appreciate you telling us the truth, but we're going to keep you around and we're going to keep your pay at the same rate. Would you leave? Would you leave? I'm not being easy on camera. I'm being realistic. We've all had those situations with a guy that tells us that if you told your supervisor, I don't have time to show up for work. I do not have time. I do not know what I can give you. I don't know if I'm going to be productive. And they said, we're going to keep you around. I'd be like, well, this is some good shit. I'm going to keep coming. Or I'm going to come when I can. I'm going to come when it's convenient. Because guess what? There's no consequences. They're willing to take what I'm willing to offer. I'm not being easy. I'm not being easy on him. He was very clear. The only thing that he could have said is, I'm not interested. I don't want to move forward. But again, with this show, the women were supposed to have the power. So if a woman has the power and she hears she hears something that's anti what she wants, then she has the power to send him home. And if you don't want to, the problem is a lot of us feel like, and I don't know if the show told them I don't know if the show told them that they had to keep somebody to the very end or what. But I do know that what works with everything is being authentic. And I don't even think that Zadia was just joking around. She did say they didn't have much to choose from, but I also think that she genuinely liked him. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all will like somebody who don't like us all the way back. And we've all had people that liked us and we didn't like them all the way back. The host is going to push, but I don't think the host was necessarily pushing him. I think Tamika was trying to see what Zadia wanted to do, but Tamika didn't do a lot of really interacting with the girls anyway. Besides having the other guys spin the block, she wasn't really super involved with them, at least not from what we saw. Now, I did ask the ladies about that, Vernisha and the other ladies, and they said that she was more involved than we saw. But I mean, if he's not giving you what you want, then tell the people, hey, I need another choice. Go find somebody. I mean, you can't do that. And I don't think this is just about Zadia, because Zadia is in her 30s and she's learning. I feel like we all have had a cam. Or if you haven't had one, yours is on the way. Everybody has that guy that they really want to be with, and he's just not really ready to be with them, or he doesn't want to be in a relationship. And when a man says he does not want to be in a relationship, please believe him. Please don't think that you're so beautiful that you can change his mind. Please don't think that you can cook enough for you to change his mind. Please don't think that you can sex him into changing his mind. Please be about your way. Be about your way, ladies. Don't give a man an opportunity to do that, to where he brings you a parting gift. That is our lesson for today. No parting gifts. No parting gifts. What's up, Shay? See, you no, I know nobody would. No. The thing that I think that worked with my girlfriend Shay that was on, and she was just herself. I think a lot of times women are afraid to say what works for them. If he tells you he's not ready and you should date other people, then speak up for yourself. Don't listen to production. Speak up for yourself and say, I'm going to send him home. And if they can't find anybody else, then don't find them. But to stick around and then end up getting a parting gift, which is a promo for his brand, is wild. That's wild. But you know what? Zadia had the power. We've heard that from the ladies all season. It's our show. It's our power. We're in control. Well, ladies, do what you do with your power. And if you can't, then if you make the wrong decision, own it. because everybody had the power. Everybody was screaming, "This is my choice, my power. I'm in control. It's not like the other Ready to Love. I'm in control." Well, okay, sis, when you make the decision, then you got to stand on it. You cannot blame him because we all heard all season that this was about the ladies being in control. Now, when you make a decision that doesn't put you in control, that gives you, if you walk over and give him your power, that's on you. That's not on him. So I don't think that he damaged his reputation. I really don't. I don't think he damaged his reputation. Trust and believe. Cam is not, there are so many women are not going to care about him doing that because you can't really make him into the bad guy because he tried to tell her. She chose to do it anyway. And even in the end, he wasn't mean to her. He just was like, he did a promo for his business, which everybody on there is promoting their business. Everybody is on there promoting themselves. Nobody's on there genuinely looking for love. At this point, the other ladies know this is for TV. This is for me to make what I can out of this moment, right? So we can't act like he's the only one on there trying to promote his business. But he got an opportunity. He did take the pictures of her. She did the photo shoot. It ain't like he took pictures of somebody else, and those are pictures of her. But we have to be accountable for our own actions as women. We just have to. We have to. We cannot say that it is up to it's my power, my show, and then cry when we accept something that was less than we wanted to accept. That's not cool. So anyway, that is my assessments for pop culture power for today. We talked a little bit about. Ooh, I have more next week. We're going to get into some stuff with Tamar Braxton. But for this week, we talked about Sister Wives. We talked about Love is Blind. We talked about Robin, Robin, Robin on Real Housewives of Potomac. Of course, our girl Kenya Moore on Real Housewives of Atlanta. And Phaedra, Miss Phaedra on Married to Medicine. And last but not least, Cam and Zadia on Ready to Love, Make a Move. Now, make sure that you're tuned in tomorrow night. Mo and I will be back with a midweek recap. And then Friday, we're going to watch the reunion and we're going to come on here and we're going to talk about it. And I just want to ask everybody, because I have done this lately, let's take accountability, right? I will say, hey, I might have been wrong about what I thought about this person, because each week we see new information on characters on the cast. But what we cannot do is act like a man has victimized us when we have given him all the ammunition to do it. Like, you cannot do that. We cannot make victims out of ourselves when the man has tried to give us the code and we have turned a blind eye to it. It's like if I drive my truck downtown on the middle of Peachtree and I leave the keys in the engine, I leave the engine running, I leave the door open right in front of a very popular nightclub, and somebody gets in my car and takes off. And if a man tells you, I don't have time for you, you should date other people. I don't want to be in a relationship. I'm not moving at this time of my life. I don't see myself moving anytime soon. And you bypass all that and decide to keep him around and to keep sharing, your time with him, then ladies, you got to take responsibility for that. And you're right, Marriott, we need to tell each other the truth. So I, as your virtual sister, am telling you, if you hear those things from a man, sis, you got to go. And if you don't go, that's on you. That's on you. And you can take this as a lesson and learn and keep going. It doesn't mean that you're not worthy. It doesn't mean that you're not going to find an amazing man. It doesn't even mean that he doesn't like you. It just means that he's not the one for you at that time. And I promise you, the respect is what we need to keep. For me, like, I would rather a person respect me than love me, because if you love me but you mistreat me, then I don't need that. Respect is most important. As in the words of our good sis Lauren Hill, Lauren said, respect is just a minimum. It's just a minimum. We got to start there. But in order for someone else to respect you, you got to respect yourself. That's just old fashioned good mama and auntie information. That's all that is. That's mama and auntie stuff. And so maybe some of these young ladies don't have a mama and auntie, or sometime our mom and auntie told us, but because we like the guy so much, we don't want to listen, or because we're on a public platform. I think that we have started to tell young women that as long as they're attractive, that's all it takes to get a man and keep him. But what they don't share is that everybody can be attractive in their own way. So you're not the only one. You're the only you, but pretty is everywhere. Fine is everywhere. So you got to figure out what it is about you that's special, and then you got to make people respect that. All right. I'm just dropping in with a little pop culture power and, on a Tuesday, going up on a Tuesday. I love you guys for watching. Make sure that you like this before you leave. I'm going to be doing these weekly so we can start to build the audience here and start to have these conversations. But again, my point in doing this is to show you guys that yes, I'm a YouTuber and I talk about, what's on reality TV, but there are actual articles that add a little bit of context to this so that you can see, I do a little bit of studying before I write something or before I talk about it. So I want to make sure to give you guys the whole story and then you can make your own decision. You may not agree with me, and that's okay. We don't have to always agree, but at least here on From Christal XO, we can have a real conversation, weigh the options, figure out, what is it? What can I learn from this situation? What do I see in myself in this person, and how can I grow from that? Okay. I love you guys for watching. Mo and I will be back tomorrow at 8. And then you guys, please don't miss. Please do not miss Friday at 10, because we're going to get into this reunion, that clip that we saw with Cam and Zadia, and so much more. We're going to talk about all of it. And then I will tell you guys this. I have a surprise. We are going to do, and I'll give you guys the date on Friday. We are going to do a reunion with the fellas, because we gotta hear the other side. Like, it's great that we hear the women, but I really want to hear, what does Don have to say? What does Cam have to say? What does Mizell have to say? What does Maurice have to say? We want to hear from the guys. So we're going to do that in the next few weeks. I'll give you guys the date. Mo and I will be there, so there'll be a male and a female perspective, and we're going to get into it. So I love you guys for watching. Be safe, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.